doesn't stay on an account very long. So we have started to really look into that and create systems that allow us to track certain player behavior in that aspect. That will help us support identify actual gold sellers and get them out of the game faster. Now, again, this is not meant to be a measure to actually harm any player behavior. This is mainly against, the bots in the game. The level restrictions are literally just for that reason there, and that's also why they have been lowered. The original one for Uruguay, I believe, was level 40. It's now level 20. So, yeah. And the last thing that goes in there, oh, somebody unmuted, probably by accident.
I got it.
All right. And the last topic that goes hand in hand there is the mailbox system. The mailbox system was shut down after we've identified that it's been misused by these gold sellers. There's been a lot of players that reported, a possible gem bug coming from that. It's not specifically a gem bug that was done there, but it was log spam on our end, basically. So the system wasn't robust enough to handle the amount of incoming, let's say, this is very technical, but incoming packages. Even though there was a delay on how quickly you can send a message in the mailbox. And so, as a precaution, it was turned off. Now, because of the actual players coming to us about, fixing the economies and figuring out a way to quickly get to that topic, the mailbox system itself has been somewhat on a hiatus for far too long. The system will be returning for sure. All your items will still be there. In the meantime, this is actually something that was approached recently. We are going to look at the option of basically any items that got stuck in there just to be delivered to the person that they were sent to, so that you don't have to worry about those and you don't have to worry about the system, coming back. You will get it back. It will just have several modifications so that we don't run into the same problem again. And we also want to prevent gold sellers utilizing it for actual selling. All right. So much for the gold seller topic. The next thing I will speak of is actual content that you're going to be seeing soon. So there is a large quantity of questions that came up about, higher level content, especially since we just released the ROTG a year ago. And there are still a lot of things that aren't dropping there. A lot of players are already at the level cap, don't have much to do. So I can assure you that there's content coming very soon. I'm not going to give out a date just because the specific date tends to shift, even if it's just by a couple of days. However, there's 4 instance dungeons that are going to be rolling out in the next months. 2 of those are for higher level, and 2 of those are for mid and lower level. All these instance dungeons are focused to bring back the sort of rarity that certain items had. So aside from the general drops that are always there when you succeed, these will also be farmable for very rare item drops that will take you quite a while to get. But that's what makes them unique, and that hasn't been there in ROTG for a very long time. So with that, we will be, of course, introducing a whole set of new jewels. A whole bunch of maybe bracelets and things like that are added on top. I don't want to go too much into detail about what's going in, but all of these will be in instance dungeons and other content that's coming as well. One of the instance dungeons, so this is the one that is coming next in our pipeline, is actually specifically for the higher level. So higher level will receive this first. And that one in specific will drop certain materials as well as items that ROTG was missing. And it's a good one, I think. There's kind of a lot of things I want to share, but I think first let's just get through the technical part, and then I can spend some time on sharing some goodies with you in terms of what that one looks like. Aside from this, we will add new gatherable quests with special content. There's already been a feature that was introduced with ROTG. That specific feature was that you need an item to receive a quest line in your, you have to have the item in your inventory to receive that quest line. And it's not really been used much. So there's going to be, let's call them special quests that will allow you to basically, consistently have content to do aside from instance dungeons or world boss. There's been a lot of questions about having further quality of life updates, especially to ROTG. I can already tell you that we're in production for another realm. So if you've opened the ROTG world map, obviously there is currently, I believe, 3 realms that are visible to you. But some of you might already know that there's more than those 3 that are going to be rolling out, and the rest of them are sort of hidden on that map. And so we will be rolling out further ones this year still. And so with that, of course, comes equipment and bosses and all sorts of content to play. I can't specifically say whether or not that will actually increase the level cap at this stage. I do not believe it's necessary, but it's something that we're also open about. I do believe that there will for sure be possibilities to raise them, especially with the introduction of new quest lines. But it might also just be an extension of the current ROTG, because the plan for ROTG was to have all the gods realms eventually in there, so that we can bring you to the sort of content that is let's call it endgame. I would say. And I think in terms of the actual content, that is what I want to share for instances. Card collection system has been asked quite a lot of times. We have produced several hundred cards for new monsters for upcoming content, as well as the other, the previous content that was neglected. And you will also get an updated card collection system this year. Now, the card collection system itself has a reward system. In addition to the rewards that are currently obtainable, there will be additional new rewards added. There will also be additional new titles that can be obtained. And some of the titles are more, for let's call it fun. And some of them will be very good in stats, but obviously rare in terms of the card drops. Yeah, so card collection system is also coming this year still. Huh? Okay. Let's see. Gathering and crafting materials. So this has been something that has come up several times. I'm not sure why it hasn't been addressed in the past yet, but it will be addressed very, very shortly. As I mentioned, there's enough content coming up that gives you possibility to receive this. But also there should just be general ways to obtain certain materials through just grinding, like there is in the previous abysses. So there's definitely going to be several things added to the game, drop tables, loot, that you can basically get those easier. And we're also introducing a new system to the game, which utilizes shadow currency. You guys might have already seen it. There was an NPC recently added to the game. This NPC currently holds a Western costume package. This individual NPC that it takes the basic shadow currency, and then you can depict which item you want from there. And we want to expand this system to basically give players the option to get the items that they want with the stats that they want, rather than having it be a predefined thing, which is in the store. So this is also something where obviously we enjoy your feedback on that, mainly because no system is perfect. I'm sure a lot of things can be made better there. But since we don't have a way to depict stats individually at this stage, there's going to be just multiple instances of each item, like you can currently experience it at the NPC. And that will allow you to at least, narrow down the meta that you want for that specific item. Now, I can't give you a timeline how long it'll take to roll this out for older items, but if you have specific ones that you think should be more important in terms of that, then this is something that can be communicated so we can roll it out quicker. There's a second part to that shadow currency that has nothing to do with actual let's call it sales. Um, this currency is also eventually going to be obtainable in the game. So there's going to be ways to actually obtain these currencies so that you can farm and you get rewarded for the premium items. Now, obviously, it's not going to have the severe drop rate like, spend 20 minutes and get a premium item. But essentially, there's going to be several pieces in the game that will give you these. And so it is a definite way to obtain, all sorts of items. At this stage, I can't tell you what's going to be available at the NPCs, and we'll probably do rotation there as well. But for now, that's the reasoning behind the NPC, and we wanted to see what the initial feedback was from players. So I think the lack of information there in terms of what it was meant to be kind of made it just seem weird. So that's why it was important to actually mention it. Um, Aside from that, there has been a lot of questions about character transfers. Character transfers has been a topic since eons, and we basically have worked on the server merges first, but it's not off the table. It's not something that will happen in the very near future, but it is definitely still something that we want to pursue. Automated versions of that, of course. And so once we get closer to being able to narrow down the timeline, I think we can bring this topic back up. But yes, server transfer is not off the table. It is definitely something that we will be looking into in the future. All right. I believe I have successfully gotten through the majority of my topics for the content updates. So I think at this stage, we might be able to. Okay, never mind. Kingdom Quest that's a good one. Thank you for bringing me on that track. I didn't want to go too much into detail, but there's been a lot of people that said they'd like to experience older Kingdom Quests in higher levels. And as such, I mentioned there's 4 instance dungeons that are coming. 3 of these are called the Spiral Towers. The Spiral Towers are Kingdom Quests in instance form, and you can kind of compare them to Tower of Isle or Crystal Castle, where each room, will basically hold its own Kingdom Quest. And you're going to basically be facing off with all the bosses from lower level, higher level, mid range in those towers to basically get specific drops or exp quest lines, all that sort of thing. But yeah, those are going to be targeted towards 3 different level ranges. That's why there's 3 of them. Yes, the gem duping issue is resolved. The mailbox, as I mentioned, we still have some cleanup to do there. So as soon as that's done, we'll give you more information. The first thing that I'm going to be doing there is basically make sure that everybody has the items that are stuck in there. Last time I checked, it wasn't that many, but we can find an automated way of distributing those to the people that actually have them in their mailbox. And the mailbox feature itself will not return until it has been going through some updates and changes, for sure. But it will return. Priorities are just somewhere different right now. I think it's a nice feature, but yeah. Nope, it's 3 different instances actually. Each instance, depending on the level range, will visit a different sort of setup for the individual rooms. So they're in no way related aside from basically incorporating every Kingdom Quest that we have in the game. But yes, they will be different for every level range. What happened to snowballs? Um, I'm not sure. They're still in the game, so I think at this stage we can actually go into general questions from anything that I've mentioned or other questions that you might have. Please keep in mind I do need to note these down as well because we need to have a written summary, so it might take me a second to get back onto you guys with answers there. All right, let me start at the top here. When will there be a green banana dance perm? Black Sky?
Yes, for that
Well,
actually we are already making a list of quite a list actually from you guys requesting permanent version of items, right? We are
perfect.
compiling that list right now, but that's the thing as well. There's quite the difference between EU and US. But yeah, we are getting there. So you guys can
So
have fun with it.
you guys will eventually see it. All right.
Yeah.
What else we got? My suggestions for a temporary to permanent with Quest or Fusion is in work, please. I'm not entirely sure what that question refers to, Tanisa, but maybe you can give some more insight. I'll jump to the next question for now. Let's see. Okay, I already mentioned. So T6 materials as well as stones, obviously materials being a priority because we don't want to actually, reduce the importance of crafting. So materials will be introduced in a higher quantity in ROTG. Um, and we will include in the patch log where that actually happens. Let's see. What are we doing about the hyperinflation? So the step one was basically stopping them from obtaining more. Funny enough, that's also kind of linked to why we're changing repeatable quest lines to not receive any money anymore. Because the minute that we shut down the actual mailbox system, we saw a large peak in spam bots doing quest lines for money. And I understand that farming money is part of the game. However, there's other means like Abyss and such for players to do so. There's just some quest lines in the game that are making it so easy to do, and so for repeatable quest lines as a compensation sort of thing, we have reduced or we've removed the money reward and boosted the EXP that you get from these quest lines. And I think you will agree that they are very nicely boosted once you see the actual patch log that's coming. Okay, addressed lack of concept, terrible way to cap. Yep, okay, so we've already addressed this. Promo codes, again, this is not something that we'll discuss here today. I brought this aside, mentioned developers are working on a possibility of server transfer. Yes, okay, already addressed it. French fusion. I'm assuming this is talking about server fusion, so like a merge. So again, this is a subject that is also going to be addressed another time. It's nothing for in here. I specifically want to talk about game content because I think having that time with you guys to actually receive feedback is essential right now for me, to just see whether or not the direction in which we're going is a good one. So let's see. T6 stats. Adding hotkeys to fifth hotbar. I'm gonna note that down. It sounds like tech debt, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Fix the doors in. Okay. So for any like bugs or something that you guys want to report, please report them outside of this one. I think it's easier if we can just have questions in here. Bug fixes and any sort of stability issues are a consistent subject on our end. So obviously, if you guys have some, please report them, and then we will add them to our backlog to be added as soon as possible. Will the XP from repeat? Yes, the XP from repeats is increased on a whole bunch of quest lines, not just higher level. Let's see what else we got. Do we get a written summary later? Yes. Yes, I talked too fast. I know. I apologize. But essentially, we're going to not just have a written summary. You'll have a video where I can actually, because I prepared a lot of pictures and stuff, as well as videos of what I wanted to showcase. And I think that one in particular is not nice sharing over Discord. So I'm actually going to put it together to a 5-minute video, which will give you insight with subtitles on all of the things that we talked about today. But that's also why I have to record it. Oh, somebody accidentally. Yep. In German, we say, Kobo redet wie ein Wasserfall. Yes, he does. All right, let's see. Okay, again, that's a question that's retained to item shop, so I'm going to skip over those for now. Didn't help. Yeah, so we're aware that gold sellers also are able to level, but it really pisses them off. I had a really good conversation with one of them in jail the other day. So, by introducing this and by basically banning their accounts, it basically makes it so that you have a lot more hours in the day in which you don't have a spam that's happening in there. So this is, I would consider, a large quality of life update. All right. How populated is Fiesta right now, and which one is the most populated? I actually have to get back to you on that. I mean, we know that Fiesta is still highly populated. I can't tell you which one is the most populated right now. That's something I'd have to look up. I actually don't know off the top of my head right now. All right. When are you going to fix the upstats for the tutorial helmets? In the next one, not in the quality of life update, but it's on my list. Let's see what else we get. And what does mid-level mean? So low level, we internally at least consider a range between 1 to 60. 60 to 105 would be mid-range, and then 105 up would be higher level. Because that's where the prestige hits. Let's see what else we got. Will the instance be time limited? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you mean this is like a sort of event instance, no. It is permanent content that's staying in the game. The removal of bound items that are stuck in your inventory, like the stones from the void, there is already a list that exists, and we will be fixing those up so that you can actually delete them yourself and you don't have to go through support in the future for this. Let's see. I feel like I'm never going to get to the end of this page. Will there be an NPC like Hamurai? So we all realize that having an NPC that gives buffs, especially in like Eldarine or something on a consistent basis, is a very nice thing to have. And we're not dead set against this. In fact, this is something that we actually have worked in the background. And there's something that's going to be rolled out similar to this. But as you can understand, we do not or cannot allow the use of third-party software in any way or form. And so anyone utilizing that, where our systems tracking it can detect it, will receive their permaban. There's no way around that. But yes, we do believe that that's a nice thing. And so it's definitely something that's on our list. Spiral towers won't be impossibly hard, no. With the restructure, we've also brought back some previous know-how, let's say, to actually focus a bit more on the balancing of things. And so while I also think that it might be something to roll out on PTS for you to actually check out, there will be the versions will be catered towards the actual level ranges. However, I'd like to see a hardcore version of those as well. So that's currently not on the list, but it's something that we have considered. Is there going to be a merge? So again, regarding merge, this is something where I don't mind having open discussion on it, but right now, this is the wrong day for it. So there's a lot of details that go into this, and there's a lot more participants that need to be partaking in that discussion. So essentially, let's not go into that one today. Will any of the older? Yes. So there will actually be some adjustments to some of the older KQs. Especially because we've just recently also taken out a KQ. for which I know a lot of people like the rewards for that. We're farming those rewards. Don't misunderstand. We will make sure that those rewards are obtainable in another way or manner. But I don't like content that remains to be just AFK. And people were not actually doing the KQ the way that it was intended to be, the Battle Royale, which is partially probably also because of an issue in the actual setup or game design. So it will return, probably in a revamped version. But yeah, we will be looking at previous KQs as well. It's on the list. There's currently no changes that are set for those, though. It's just on our list for investigation. Or evaluation sounds a bit better. So why Vitality for 30 seconds? I didn't want to spoiler this one, but we actually we have an internal monster that we created, which is called the damage dummy. And this one is literally what it says. It's a dummy that tracks any damage that is output towards it, and is allowing us to basically see the results of changes much quicker when it comes to that. So with the actual duration, the damage output is already scaled severely. Now, of course, we're not bringing back slash set because that thing was just broken for years. But the 30 seconds is a middle way because the initial 60 seconds is quite severe. Now, again, this is rebalance. And as I mentioned earlier, we're totally open to discuss rebalance subjects with you guys. I think that one in specific should receive its own call to just talk about all the individual classes because it's a lot. But 30 seconds is a good way to do it. And so we will be setting it to 30 seconds initially. In the long run, this is something that I currently don't have planned, but I think it'd be fun if you guys get access to this damage dummy. I know there's a lot of people that have been asking about it, maybe even in a sort of competitive way, where you need to damage the dummy in a certain time frame, and whoever gets most damage gets rewarded, sort of thing. And then maybe split per class. But this is something right now that it's in the backlog there, but it is not. It's not meant for you guys just yet. Are the new skills going to be fixed? There's always like 2 seconds of casting when you can't do anything. It's something that's on our list. I do believe that there's actually just a data versus animation mismatch, so it's on the bug list. Hopefully, I don't want to make promises, but I'm gonna try and see if I can get it in after the next patch. But yeah, it's definitely on our radar. Any more details on the spiral towers? I don't want to mention in here. This was more supposed to be sort of a teaser in terms of that. There'll be tons of information coming out to you guys as soon as we actually, get closer to finishing the production on them. I have a little video I can show you of what these will look like, and they're kind of funny. It's almost like miniature KQs. But either way, I will not be answering that question today. You will get information once we get there. Rico, that's not a development question. That's something for support. So please check with them. This is nothing that I can answer for you. When can you put items by right-clicking in a trade window? To be fair, that's something that has been brought up a couple of times. I do believe the feature is actually, it's possible. I think it was disabled on purpose. I will have to look into this, actually. I can't answer it right now. I think there was a good reason as to why that wasn't supposed to be a thing. When are the new haircuts out? Yeah, they're going to be out with the patch that's coming after the next one. We're already on integration on those, so you don't have to wait much longer. Will there be PvP KQ? All right, so in terms of additional content suggestions like KQs or Abyss, we can definitely put it on the list. It's currently not on the list. That doesn't mean we're not going to be doing it. It just means that it's not currently in production. So let's have a discussion about that outside of this one, because right now I just want to make sure that we get through all questions relating to everything I've mentioned today. Can we bring Abyss back? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, with the change to quest lines, especially repeatables, not generating money anymore, there will be some additional activity in Abysses for sure. We can evaluate the drop tables for that. Not gonna make any promises right now, but it's definitely something we can look into. But I do expect there to be a larger behavior of people going there for grinding. Okay, so basically you're asking me how money is created in the future. So quest lines have never been the number one go-to until higher level was introduced. Fiesta has always had abysses where you can basically do this. Now I understand that especially for RTG, there's currently no such a map that gives you drops in the quantity that you would need it to actually use it for money generation, and that's definitely something to look into. But I think that problem will be solved once we introduce the new drops that are coming with the instances. So we can keep discussing on that one at a later point. But I think you should see once the actual update rolls out how that changes the behavior. Introducing 2016 stacking again. No, I do not believe that's going to be happening. It's something. I mean, this system has been changed so many times over the years. At this stage, changing it back to its original, I think, is ill-advised, especially with the content that was added afterwards. But then again, never say never. Let's see. Drop new weapons. So weapons that were dropped in instances have historically usually been worse than the world boss ones, obviously, because world boss is world boss, right? So I don't think there's current plans of having weapon drops in there specifically, or if there is, then they're going to be the lower version ones that were supposed to be in the actual instance that was supposed to roll out with our TG. But after the feedback, what was that? But after the feedback that we received on the rollout of our OTG, that whole instance got scratched. So they will be introduced one way or another, but it will not make the worth of your world boss gear any less. I think I have almost reached the bottom at this stage. Yeah, in terms of the actual balancing for these new towers, I can't speak of it right now, mainly because it's still all the way in production. So essentially, I think it makes sense to talk about that more once it's actually something that we can roll out on a test server so you guys can try it. I do believe that there is always going to be sort of a difference, especially in the existing content between like a high populated server and a low populated server. But I do believe that those lines can be blurred by adding certain like buff systems. A server that doesn't have as many players could maybe receive a buff when they're getting into content like that. It's been discussed a couple of times. I do not believe it's on our backlog right now, but it is something that we can look into in the future. Will copper, gold, silver bars ever have a purpose? It's a good question. Right now, there's no change plans for those specifically. That doesn't mean that there can't be in the future. If you have some suggestions, make sure you forward them. I do believe that they were just basically another way of basically the production. They're listed as in green. Yeah, it might be something that when they actually rolled out production for that wasn't considered or just was dropped out. I'm gonna note it down. Yeah, regarding feedback in the future, we will have a separated information for you guys on how that's going to happen. I think we have some very exciting ways of doing that in the future to be able to take in your feedback. But Minion will update you on that once we roll out the systems. Okay, there's some questions in here that are being repeated now, so I will skip over those. You can rewatch the recording of today's call to basically have those answered. But yeah, I will just jump to the ones that we haven't answered yet. Will there be a group damage chart? I mean, for you're talking about the dummy, the damage dummy. I mean, it's definitely something that could be possible. Currently, it only tracks the damage on an individual because that's easier for actually testing the damage output of a specific thing on a target. Let's see. Gold AA is not owned by Gamigo? Oh, hell no. No, it is not. We don't encourage or support any gold spammer sites. In fact, we ban them on a daily basis. Unfortunately, it's a subject that doesn't just, it's not just a Fiesta subject. You see them in every game. Everybody starts or tries to find ways to get rid of them. But it's a business for their end as well. And so all we can do is countermeasures, which is what we're doing. Let's see. Will the godly packs be released again? No. That's not something that's retaining to development or anything. I'm just going to shoot that question down because that was exclusive, and so those will never return again. Let's see. Okay, we're getting now into a lot of questions that are more of suggestions from what I can see and less about the current content stuff that I've discussed. And so I think for that particular one, like be it Karen instance and such, all of those things we should allocate to discuss, but it's not something for today, I believe. Fiesta Classic again, it's one of those things that has been. What the? What was that?
Someone was not here anymore.
Okay. Anyways, Fiesta Classic, is it going to happen or not? I mean, we had the internal discussion of having servers that have different sort of premises and settings. It's not off the table, but it's not something that we're currently pursuing. How many people can access the new dungeons? Again, it's a question that I will answer once you actually get to see it. I do believe that the majority of them are either because they're based on like the spiral tower specifically, they're based on Crystal Castle and such. So they're going to be more of like a party, while the higher level dungeon that's coming will probably have expedition. You might actually need it. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like suggestions on removing certain KQs and whatnot. It's definitely something we can look into in the future, but again, it's not something to discuss today. I think like I want to kind of keep it separate from suggestions versus discussion on the topics that I've addressed today. Oh my god, ASMR stream, really? Will I be posting more on your YouTube? That's not a development question, but yes. Okay, I think unless Nenian and Black Sky can actually see a question that retains to the current content, all of these look to be suggestions.
I sent you a message in Teams.
Yeah, let me check. Ah, yes, ROTG
Yes.
buff. Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, we had the internal discussion about the ROTG buff. I do want to actually discuss it with designers one more time before we make that change, but I believe it will be utilizing the original setup that you guys got used to. But yeah, let's update you guys on that at a later stage. Again, mage, passive, any sort of rebalance subjects we have to keep out of this one right now. The only reason I brought in the gladiators is because it's been a subject on, for a very long time. People have been waiting on an update there and begging. So, we will have further rebalance updates, and those updates will actually be happening with the community, and we'll punch them out to PTS before so that you guys can review them. You guys can get a feel for them and give us actual feedback before we then make the final adjustments to be rolled out.
As Cole mentioned, you guys are asking about certain things that have nothing to do with what we discussed today. So please, if you do have questions about what was discussed, ask those. Anything else is going to be taken for a next one. It's not going to be answered today.
Yeah. I have just arrived. Please start over. All right. Yeah, it's very nice to meet you all. All right, let's see. Yes, so that is actually retaining to the content. Could we have some new item that is as rare as the old level 50 and 60 oranges? Yes, those will be introduced with the content. So just for anybody that doesn't know, we're talking about items here that over the course of 3 to 4 years there was maybe 8 or 9 on the server. So there is going to be ones that just regularly drop, easy to obtain. There's going to be some that are rare, and then there's going to be these ultimately rare ones. So we are bringing that back because it makes it unique when you actually do get it.
Ja! Komme sofort!
Okay. I don't know who that was, but yeah. Let's see. Oh my god, you guys are typing too fast. Give me a second here. I'm almost at the bottom though.
These kind of events. Oh, sorry. You're reading. I'm reading. You want to go first, or should I go first?
I'll just quickly do this one. When next week can we expect this patch? Sorry, but with the boost and EXP, it might be better to relax until. The actual patch is rolling out on Tuesday, as per usual. All right, go ahead.
Go. I see a lot of people actually asking us how often we're going to do this kind of meetings. I know you guys will most likely love to hear from everything update related every couple of weeks or every month. However, as you guys were informed, a lot of things are being done right now. It's being processed. We're not gonna always have the time to be able to do this. However, when there is something that is big or of great importance that we need to update you, we will make sure to let you know. This could happen every couple of months. It could happen, who knows, every couple of weeks. It depends on how it's being adapted to the game and obviously it's updated to you guys. So it's not going to happen every month necessarily. It's all I'm saying. We would love to, but in reality, it might not be possible.
Will there be such wonderful music in the realms?
Draprad ist meine Hosen und so Ölen.
Okay, well, that's something. Just look at the actual posting of the drop changes. It might actually be in there. But anyways, let me just quickly go over this one regarding the music of ROTG. Of course, there will be music for the new realms as well. I can't tell you what it's going to be like yet, but there's been a lot of people requesting it to be more nostalgic to the original score that you have when you enter the game, that you have when you're actually on the lower level maps. So it might be moving into that direction again. We'll see. I totally don't mind having that be a community voted poll. Can you say Ubu? Are you kidding me? Ubu! God. All right, let's go. See what else we got. Is there any possibility when it comes to perms? Okay, I think the majority of the questions now I'm at the bottom are literally retaining or regarding topics that aren't covered in today's call. So I think since we actually hit the mark, we can actually call it for today and open up the mics. Hold on, before anyone unmutes and this chat room explodes, please only unmute if you actually have a question that retains to anything that we have presented today. If it doesn't, then that's a question for another time, for sure. But we're only, it's a development update, so we're only discussing the subjects that I have discussed today. So if you have a question regarding that, then feel free to unmute. I'm so scared right now. Unmute and ask the question. I just did. All right. Anyone else?
Kommen 5er Damage-Gruppen zurück.
Again, damage groups subject for another one. The dummy is not necessarily related to any of this, but I'm not opposed to it. I do think that it's a nice way of tracking. So it's something that I will put on our backlog, and then we can discuss it further at another one of these.
So new dungeon will have new jewels, new sets, new weapons. Can you give us just a hint what's coming? What's the drop table?
You're talking about the instance?
Yes, the new 141.
Yeah. So the new one that's coming in higher levels, I can tell you it will definitely contain jewels. I do not want to give you a complete picture of all the drops that are coming there, mainly because it's still in production and some of it might still change. However, I do not believe that. These are basically just drops that didn't get dropped in ROTG so far, or that have a very low drop chance. So you're not going to find any world boss gear or something like that there. I can assure you of that. All right. Anyone else?
The new class will be introduced next month.
Again, time frame, I don't want to give you a specific date, but it's definitely around the corner for this higher level instance. our target is June, but actually, sorry, July. But the dates might shift depending on, gets done faster, gets done, run into some problems. Production is more of an open thing, and I've made the mistake in the past of making a lot of promises regarding dates. And so I'd rather give you a date when you can actually see it on PTS and play it before we roll out. So, that there's a workable version, rather than telling you right now it's going to be, the specific date, and then I have to come back and I'm like, sorry, because of, reasons, we have to push it back further.
So if there's a PTS, will you guys take feedback from us?
Yes. So as soon as the new way of communication. So I love that wording. We have several tools that we will be rolling out to you guys, which will make it easier for us than just like a regular forum or so to track everyone's opinion as well as your feedback. These have worked successful on some other games that we've utilized them on, and so once that's out, you can use that, and it basically gives everybody the opportunity to not just be heard, but also push up certain topics that are of higher importance, let's say. But Ninian will speak more of that once the actual system rolls out. Everything is at the moment in preparation for this.
Ja, was können wir denn jetzt Dienstag alles beim Patch erwarten, was da kommt?
Wie gesagt, ich habe damit eigentlich gestartet. Das heißt, sobald wir mit diesem Call durch sind, werde ich dann anfangen, an dem Summary zu arbeiten, das ich wahrscheinlich bis morgen hochballern kann. Dann kannst du dir das nochmal anhören. Aber im Endeffekt wird es den Patchlog ja sowieso auch zeitnah geben, weil Dienstag die Wartung ist. In dem Patchlog drin sind die gesamten Quest Changes, die ich beschrieben habe, die RRTG Quality of Life Updates, sowie Gladiator Adjustments.
Alles klar, perfekt, Dankeschön.
Yep. Anyone else?
Werdet ihr die 140er Weltenbosswaffen buffen, wenn die neuen Indie-Waffen kommen? Die sind ja gleich gut, das ist ein bisschen dumm.
Actually, I'm going to do this in all languages, since you just asked. Will there be a buff on the actual world boss weapons, since the
Yes.
weapons have the same stats? Well, I'm repeating it for everyone else. The actual stats on the INI weapons are not finalized, so those will actually be subject to change. The way that the initial instance was supposed to roll out was a very different system. It was supposed to give you the opportunity to take the instance ones and utilizing a system to upgrade, basically get them to be similar to World Boss. So don't believe data mining in there, because that whole idea got scratched, so they'll be definitely subject to change. But yeah, I do not know if we'll actually be putting a buff on the World Boss weapons at this stage. I don't think it's needed, because usually the instance weapons are always a little lower. It's just a way for people that aren't in raiding guilds to gather them to compete and eventually be in raids. So yeah.
So you can upgrade your 140 instance weapons, so they will be equal to World Boss.
No, that's what I'm saying is currently not possible. That was the initial
okay.
idea for it, but that was scratched completely. So that's not what's happening. Yeah.
I wanted just to be sure, because it's really
I
dumb.
understand. I understand. Yes. All right, guys. Anyone else? I think we can take one or two more questions, but after that, we'll have to call it.
Yeah, one about the new instances. Will they be time limited like Karen, so they only last 1 hour?
Sorry, I just muted myself. So they only last 1 hour. I mean, there might be a time limit on them. It might not be a lower time limit, just because some servers need a lot more time to get through them. But I can't tell you that right now. It's actually not set in stone at this stage. But they usually do come with a sort of a fail-safe, let's say. The only reason for that fail-safe is there's a certain amount of instances that can be hosted on the actual server at the same time. And if all entities are, let's call it blocked, right? Nobody else can do the instance at that time. And so basically that's also part of why every instance has a sort of reset function. So I don't believe we'll remove that. But yeah, like I said, it's a little early to decide on the final parts of that. You'll know once we're closer to the actual release.
So will we have a PTS of the dungeon before the dungeon is released, or no?
Yeah, so right now we're preparing a workflow that allows us to push updates to the PTS much more often and frequent. In an ideal world, you wouldn't even need a separated client for it, but that's still, it's unfortunately still a bottleneck. So yes, we will definitely be doing PTS updates moving forward. I'm not sure on like all of the content that will run through PTS, but stuff like rebalance is essential for me to go through PTS. So essentially, you will be able to check that out before, and there will be a time period where you can give us feedback before it actually goes to live.
Okay, I gotta go. Thank you so much for the update. I'm at work, and bye.
No problem at all. It was a pleasure. I think we're at the stage anyways where we need to call it for today.
Ich hätte noch eine Frage.
Okay.
Werden die nächsten Patches, die den neuen Content beinhalten, wird es auch Performance-Updates geben oder ist das ein Thema, was man an einem anderen Tag
Also
mal
wir haben.
besprechen würde?
Kaso yung voice ko, yung ping ko.
I will do it in English. So the question was about performance. So
Yes.
right now we're facing an issue that is actually unfortunate, but it has nothing to do with the game itself. It has to do with what the game utilizes in terms of a function for the game cursor. NVIDIA has a service that interferes with that. So for some people, it doesn't happen for everybody. We have severe drops in frame rate when it comes to that. Disabling this service on NVIDIA actually fixes this issue on their end, but it's not a permanent solution. Of course, it's on our backlog. We consistently try to find issues to find ways to improve performance by fixing issues with be it outdated drivers or things like that. But it's one of those topics that will continue to come back. Fiesta isn't.
Ja, also mir ging es eher so um Sachen wie, dass Fiesta zum Beispiel nur auf einem Kern läuft und sowas, weil das halt ein altes Game ist. Ob das eher so limitiert mit der Engine zu tun hat oder weil Fiesta ein altes Game ist oder ob da noch quasi Spielraum ist.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that's been evaluated internally. Just so you guys know, he was regarding, Fiesta being a single core game and such, and also having like a sort of a RAM limit because of a 32-bit application. It's something that we've looked into. There's
Nice.
no exact, topic I can give you where, hey, we're going to be updating to 64-bit anytime soon. But it's something that we're aware of and that is on our backlog to look into. I just can't tell you if that's something that's going to happen this year or,
Okay, also ich wollte das nochmal im Allgemeinen fragen, weil ich das auch beim letzten Cap mal angesprochen habe, aber es gibt halt immer viele Leute, die Fragen haben, aber ja, mich hat das halt immer interessiert, ob Gamigo irgendwo limitiert ist oder ob die noch Spielraum haben für Improvement, zum Beispiel Sachen wie Auren disablen und Effekte disablen. Das gab es ja auch früher nicht. Also früher haben Leute einfach Files gelöscht oder sowas und das wurde dann auch in das Game implementiert. Und sowas interessiert mich halt, weil ja, es ist halt ein sehr altes Game.
Yes, so absolutely. We consistently have sort of a budget. I'm calling it budget, but it's just work time that is dedicated to quality of game improvements. So those have to do with security, bugs, as well as adding features that might improve the player experience, as you've just mentioned. And so you can bring these topics up. We will note them down. We will evaluate when and if it is doable. And then get back to you. But it's something
nice.
I can't go into too much detail here, but it's definitely something that you should continue to suggest because it's on our list and there's definitely budget for it. The list of tech debt in this game, since it is an old game, is quite large though. So it's always a question of the priorities in between them, right? So if there's something that's causing a client or server crash, then that will obviously have higher priority because it's an immediate problem, rather than something that will improve the let's say RAM usage or core usage. But yeah, for sure, I know that a lot of the issues that we've been having with player crashes are also retained to a sort of a RAM limit on loading and unloading certain models, and so that's definitely something that's on our list for improvements in the future.
Wenn
Okay,
das
da
mit
bin ich schon
32
mehr als happy.
Wenn das mit den
Ja.
32-Bit und den 4 GB RAM die Leistung so beschränkt, ist das erlaubt, Large Address-Array oder so etwas auf Fiesta anzuwenden, damit man mehr nutzen kann?
You cannot make modifications to the game client. It will, in any way or form. I understand it's crap, but you cannot. It is not allowed by TOS, and you will also face issues from our anti-cheat protection. It will flag your account as modifying your client.
Vielleicht wäre es möglich, eine damit erweiterte Variante direkt zu downloaden, also über den Patch.
The thing is, like,
Als offizielle.
I understand that there's a software that makes the 32-bit application a 64-bit application. We have run this software before. I mean, this is completely out of scope of what we're talking about here, but just so you know, it doesn't actually fix the crashes of the 32-bit. That's the problem. The RAM management internally of how the client works doesn't get upgraded. It's just basically telling your computer you can now use more cores and you can use more RAM, but it doesn't fix the problems of that's actually happening inside of the memory of the
Could
client.
I please get 3 bowls of chicken noodle soup?
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right, I think we're at a stage where we can call it for today. Again, we will do this more frequent in the future, and I would love to have the same sort of a participation that we have this time around. 150 people is a very good target group, especially for feedback. And a lot of ideas that you guys have mentioned in here, I think are valid to be looked into and good. So at this point, Ninian, I would suggest that after this call, we lock the dev update convo, and then we start taking out some information from things that were suggested there. And
Already
then
on it.
we can reactivate that chat once we have our next update. And then hopefully some of the things that you guys have mentioned might be something that we can already give you updates on as well. How does the NVIDIA fix work? Actually, there's a really good player video that was made. I'm going to post it in the just general chat in a minute, so you can check it there. It's basically you just go to your services and you disable that specific service from NVIDIA, and that will fix it. State system. I mean, like I said, today is a discussion about the content that is in the very near future. But yes, I have recently made a video that contains some content that you will be facing till the end of the year or so. And so obviously I did not discuss everything that's in our plans today, but we do plan to get this more often. We just want to make sure that we get it right with everything that we patch. And so this sort of back and forth is a great way for feedback as well. The shadow currency. Oh, that's a good question. You might actually notice, not in the next patch, but in the one after, or the one after that there's several places that could possibly carry those. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a sort of a hint in the in the video I posted a long time ago. So is the dev stream gonna be on Twitch? I mean, I'd love to do a stream sometime soon as well, where I can actually showcase you this jump on the test server and do all sorts of shenanigans with you guys. Unfortunately, keep in mind that the time is also limited on our end, obviously, because I'd rather have the content out to you so you can enjoy it rather than me talking about it and showing it to you on a Twitch channel. But I don't mind. So as long as we continuously come up with these meetings, I think it's a good way of relaying feedback back and forth. All right, I think that's it. We're gonna call it for today. From my side, I'd like to thank everybody that showed
man
up.
hört es nicht. Oh, hi, moin.
Hi.
Danke für
ja.
die tolle Performance hier. War klasse von dir.
Ja, sehr gerne, sehr gerne.
Ich habe noch eine kurze Frage. Kommt das Forum nochmal wieder?
It's not something for discussion today, but it's definitely something that will be discussed, and Nenian will let you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, let me do the outro properly. God, come on, let me do it. All right. Thank you everybody for coming. I've had a blast, actually, sharing this information with you as well as getting some of your feedback. We will continue to do this. The next time we'll probably have additional subjects from community management as well. So yeah, I think 1 hour is more than enough time. I will just stop talking as long as I did this time. But yeah, I just had a lot of information I had to get out there. So essentially, thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Obviously, please keep sending us feedback. We do care and we do take all of that into consideration. We will get back to you on certain subjects in the next time. And there's more to come as well. But that's all I got for today. And I need to get some water now because I think my voice is going sore.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. The channel will be closed, so because otherwise you guys will keep adding stuff in there and it's impossible for me to keep writing. So I will close it for now. When the next dev stream comes up, I will reopen it and we will continue it up. If there's anything else that you are not able to write, just make sure to tag us and I will try to keep up as much as possible. However, remember, we're not here 24/7, so we might miss it. Don't get upset if we do. If it's something that you feel that is particularly important that really needs to be forwarded, just DM me, please. That way it's not lost.
Yeah, the last thing before I drop out today, the actual summary of what we discussed today, I will be preparing in a sort of compiled 5 minutes video that will be shared by Nenian once it's done. Please do give me a day or two for this. There's a lot of topics that were discussed today as well. As my time is limited too in terms of that. So if I don't make it till the weekend, then it'll be next week, early next week. But you will definitely have your summary that includes all the subjects that we've covered here.
I will also make sure to actually write it and put it in our announcement channel, so that way if you guys have not seen it and obviously you want to know what happened, I will have a summary there and it'll be done in all the languages as well. So just give us a little bit of time. If it doesn't happen exactly today, we'll get there though. You'll have your information. We appreciate you guys coming here today. It was actually awesome to have you guys here. Thank you very much.
All right, then everybody in all across the world, have a great day or evening or night, and we'll see you next time.